what I am going to do is, as I've told you, I'm going to be making a macrame plant pod. I am using the Bobbini braided cord. So the braided cord, it's recycled cotton, but it's got a bit of stretch in it. And the beauty of this cord is it does not fray at the ends. So it's really nice for working with to make plant hangers and these plant pods in particular. It's really nice and soft to use. And the one that I'm using is the 3mm, and I've got the mustard colour. Okay, now if you have bought the kit, if you've ordered the kit, then you will have had a set of instructions as well as me going through this step by step today. So I have cut myself already, I have cut 1 2.5 metre length, which is going to be the main filler cord to begin with. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. And I've also cut myself 23 cords that are 1.5 metre long. Okay, so I've pre-cut those so I don't have to sit and cut them while you're watching me, because that would be a bit boring. So my 2.5 metre length cord, I'm just going to lie out here. And what I am going to do is I particularly like working on a cork board because it means I can pin the cords in place so that they don't go everywhere. Okay, so there's one. And there's 2. Okay, I've also got, trying to get this straight, I've also got my wooden ring that I'm using, which is what the plant pod is going to hang from, and I've also got a pair of sharp scissors, okay, which we'll be using as we go along. Okay, so in this project we're going to be starting off just using a basic Lark's head knot to attach our cords with, and then I'm going to be showing you how to make an alternating square knot pattern, which is going to create the main body of the pod. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my pre-cut 1.5 metre cords. Okay, and if you haven't done macrame before, and this is the first time, this is one of the most basic knots that you will learn to begin with. Okay, so it's a Lark's head knot. So what we do is you fold your cord so that both ends meet. Okay, so we've got that here. Then you work your way back to the other end where you've got a loop. Okay, and then we're going to pop that behind our filler cord. Okay, and then we're going to open that loop up, and I'm going to pull these cords through like that, and then that will attach to the filler cord with a Lark's head knot. Okay, so this is going to be a bit repetitive because we need to attach all 23 cords like this. So I mean, if you've got any questions as we're going along, please just do ask if you're pondering as we go along, and I'd rather you ask so you can make sure that we're clear. Okay, so this. Okay. At the moment I'm just attaching them with the Lark's head knot, and then I will I'll put them all up closer once we're done. Is anyone making one as we go along, or are you just dipping in and out and watching? It'd be nice if anyone was making as we go along, or not. This is the most tedious bit actually, just attaching all these on. So I've got 5. Once you make one of these, they're you know, they're fairly simple, so you'll be making loads. The hardest bit is getting to know how to attach it to the wooden hoop and then join it at the end, really. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So always make sure that you've got your cords at the end so that you're working with equal lengths then. Getting there. Like I say, if anyone's got any questions that they want to ask us that go along, please just pop a note in the comments or make sure all these, well, we can do it once we've attached all of the cords, but try and make sure they're all straight and not overlapping or tangled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Camera angle is working for everyone. I've just had to turn my phone, which I'd got it working earlier. I got it landscape, but never mind. I think we can still see clearly, can't we? Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. We're getting there. It's quite nice and relaxing once you get going. You just kind of get into a rhythm, get lost in what you're doing. Just secure that a bit more. Like I say, I'll tidy these up and straighten these up once they're all attached. just double check then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Right, so they're all attached now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that up slightly, pin those again, and I'm now going to just make sure that these are nice and secure on the filler cord. Okay. And then I'll show you how we attach the hoop. Now obviously with the cords are a bit long at the moment, so we just really try and make sure that they're lying out flat, that they're not tangled or crossed over, because that's where we can get a bit of confusion and a bit of a problem. Right, let's go back from this way. Okay, and those are all nice and neat and attached on there. We can wiggle them as we go along as well if needed. Okay, right, what we're going to do now is we're going to attach the hoop. Okay, so I'm going to unpin this for now. And these two ends here, which are still quite long at the moment, but that's fine, we're going to kind of bring this round, gather these two ends, and we're going to feed these cords through the wooden hoop. Okay, so I'm going to feed those through the wooden hoop. Now they're quite long, so it needs some pulling, and there we go. Okay, I'm going to take one cord to the left and one cord to the right. Okay, so now, if I'll move that down a bit, I want to zoom in a bit more, is that be easier? Hasn't really zoomed in, has it? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a square knot which is going to attach these cords to the hoop. Okay, and I mean, look, you can see different ones here, different pods. I've done different lengths, but here I did one square knot to attach it, and then another two. This one I decided to do a bit longer, so it really is up to you. It depends on how much you want your pod to hang. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is where we're going to begin making square knots. So these two cords are going to act as the holding cords for the first square knot. Okay, and again, if you haven't done macrame before, this is one of the basic macrame knots that you will learn. Okay, so I've got the two cords which are going to act as the holding cords, and the left hand cord and the right hand cord are the working cords. Now I name these my L cord, which you'll see in a minute, and my P cord. If you've seen any of my tutorials before, I always refer them to an L and a P, and you'll see why. Because this left hand cord, I'm going to take over the holding cords, and it makes like an L shape. Okay, and then with my right hand cord, that is going to go, it's going to go underneath the two holding, it's going to go over this L cord. This is a bit fiddly, so you have to make sure you've got your cords, but once we've done the first one, it'll be okay. So I'm going over that L cord, then I'm going to go behind the two holding cords, and I'm going to come up through that L loop there. Okay, again, if you want to practice these before you do it, I have got tutorials for basic macrame knots on my YouTube channel. Okay, so that's half a square knot which has attached the cords to that hoop. So now my P cord, my right hand cord, because again, imagine you're doing this on a bigger piece, this makes a P loop. Okay, so that P loop goes over the holding cords, and then the L cord, the left hand cord, is going to go underneath the holding cords, and it's going to come up through that P loop. Okay, and then you just pull them like that, and you have got a square knot. Okay, and we have now attached what is going to be the pod to the wooden hoop. Okay, is anyone doing this as we go along? I don't think, I was looking at the comments, I don't think there are. Okay, so as I said, you can do as many or as few square knots to make the top hanging. I think I'm just going to do another 2. So half a square knot. It's just a matter of keeping these here. Okay, through there. Okay, so you can see I've got 2 square knots now. And I'm going to fit one more in. Again, a bit late, but bring it through. And then the second half square knot as well. There we are. Okay, you can just adjust these as well, and you can see as well that because it's got a bit of give in it, you can kind of just wiggle them so it's all nice and even. Okay, right, so we're at that stage now. Now this is the front of our pod, because where we did the lark's head knot, I like to be able to see the cord over the front, okay, which gives this nice edging around here, gives that nice pattern. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn our design over so that we're working with the back of the design. Okay, and this is going to create the pod here, and then we'll gather it at the end. Okay, so what we do need to do, and yeah, this is a little bit time consuming as well, but you now need to make sure that all of these cords are lying flat, that they're not tangled, that they're not overlapping, because as I said before, if you overlap and you end up picking up a wrong cord, and then you make your square knot with the wrong cord, and then you have to undo it all because the pattern's not right. So it's worth just spending a little bit of time, just run your fingers through and make sure that they're all flat. Okay. See, look, that one had gone underneath there. Now, if I hadn't have moved that, that would have, I'd have picked up that cord incorrectly. Okay. Okay, right, now we're ready to start making the net part of the pod. Okay, now obviously this one that I'm going to show you today, it's a mini pod because of time, but you can make these as big as you want. If you wanted to make a bigger pod, then you could have just added, you know, more cords, more than 23 cords, but the basis of the design is going to be exactly the same. However many cords you use, you're always going to attach them with a lark's head knot, attach the wooden hoop that way, square knots to join them together, and then now I'm going to show you how to make the alternating square knot pattern, which is going to form the actual pod. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to bring, so these two really long cords that we've got, in fact I'm going to pin my hoop again because so it doesn't wiggle. Okay, these two long cords that were the original filler cord, I'm going to bring over the centre here, okay, and they are going to be the holding cords for my first square knot of the actual pod. Okay, now it's worth, again, as I say, just taking time to make sure that you've got your cords correctly laid out so that you're not picking up the wrong one. Okay, so these are the two holding cords for my first square knot. I'm going to do my L loop there. Okay, then this right hand cord is going to be going behind the filler cords, the holding cord, sorry, and then up through that L loop and bring that, and then pull. I hold my holding cords down with my thumb just to keep it secure. So that's half a square knot, and then I'm going to make my P loop. And where's my cord gone? There it is. And then this is going to come behind the holding cords and then up through that P loop there. Okay, and again hold it and secure it. So that's the first square knot pattern. Okay, right, now what we're going to do is we're going to work our way all the way around the edge. Okay, so for a square knot, obviously you need 4 cords. 2 are going to be the centre holding cords and 2 are going to be the working cords to make, you know, your L and your P loop. So these 4 cords from that square knot we've just made, okay, I am going to put 2 over to the right and 2 over to the left, okay. And for this square knot, I'm going to take the next 2 cords along, okay. So I'm going to take that cord and I'm going to take the next cord. So now I've got 4 cords to make my square knot. Okay, so I'm just going to make a square knot there. As I say, if you've got any questions about this, please don't be afraid to ask, or you can message me later if you've got any questions. So there's a square knot. Okay, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I've got the 2 cords from that previous square knot. Then I'm going to take the next cord from the outer cords that we've got laid out, and I'm going to take the next cord. Okay, and what you can see this is going to do is it basically joins it all together. It secures it. So I'm going to do 1 off, and then my P-loop. Like I say, I know I'm doing the square knots a bit quicker, but if you need to practice your square knots, then obviously do that first. Okay, so there we go. So now I've got 2 square knots here. So I'm going to now make my next square knot around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to take my left hand 2 cords from this previous square knot, and I'm going to take the next 2 cords along. Okay, and I'm sure now you can see where this is going. So I'm going to make another square knot. And another one. Okay, now I'm not going to do the middle yet because I'm going to go over to the right hand side, and I'm going to take, oh, where am I? There's my 2 cords from this previous square knot. So I'm just working my way around the edge at the moment. Then I'm going to take my next 2 cords. I'm going to keep going like this for now. Okay. So there we go. So now on this side, I may as well do this side first. So I'm going to take those 2 right hand cords, and then I'm going to grab the next 2. There we go. And again, keeping my cords as flat as I can. I'm now going to go back to this square knot on this side, so I'm going to do exactly the same. Shuffle these around a bit. So I'm going to take the 2 cords and then 1, 2. So basically each time you sort of like go down, you're feeding in another 2 cords from these outside ones. I need to keep that a bit flatter because it's, there we go. Everyone's very quiet out there. Okay, so I'm going to go round again and then take the next two. As I say, I'm just going to keep working around. I might as well go around from this side at the moment. Those two are the middle ones. Ooh. I hope everyone's enjoying this at the moment. You can see how it's going to build up. That side, just so I can keep it even, and then what I'll do is I will start joining this centre bit in, because it will just make it easier to work with as we go down. Right, so I need to straighten out my cords again because they've gone a bit tangled and overlapping. Okay, so I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right hand side, and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left hand side. And what I'm going to do now is, like I say, I think I'm going to start joining these centre ones, because otherwise we'll have cords here, there and everywhere. So if we go back up here, we had the 1 and then we've got 2. Now for this row, on this row, we're going to make a third one in the centre. So you will take the 2 cords from the previous square knot and the 2 cords from the one next to it, and that's going to make an alternating square knot here to join the centre bit. See, that's it, make sure that one twisted then, so I've just straightened it out. Okay, that one there. And then for the next row, again, I'm going to take those 2 cords, 2 right hand cords from that previous square knot, and then the 2 left hand cords from the next square knot along. And as long as you're taking 2 from each previous square knot, it will create an alternating square knot pattern. Okay. Okay. Get those 4. Move that one out of the way. That one's gone. Right. See where it's crossing there? That's where we have to be careful, because that's where the cords, if they don't lie flat, the pattern will get a bit wonky. Okay. Oh, see, they're crossed again there. Okay, so I mean, you can see the pattern building up. We had 1, 2 square knots, 3 square knots. On that row there's 4 square knots, so on this row there'll be 5, and so on. So I'm going to start in the centre. Okay, so I've got 2 cords from the previous square knot, left hand 2 from this previous square knot. Okay, move those out the way. And then these 2 and these 2. Again, as I keep saying, as long as you've got the 2 and the 2 from the next one next to it, you'll have an alternating square knot. Okay, so I've got one more square knot on this row to join these 2. Like I say, you could make this as big as you wanted to, really. You just need lots of cords, and obviously you'd have to cut them along the length. Okay, right, so now I'm going to join these 2. So this, see, now that cord has gone underneath there, so if I'd have picked up that cord, I'd have gone wrong. So that's where you have to make sure that you're always checking that you've got the correct cords next to each other, okay, and that they're lying flat. I'm just going to put that one up there so I know I've done that one. Because obviously now all my cords are getting closer together as we're working our way down here. Okay, and then this one. And so now I'm taking the next 2 from the outer set of cords. Okay, and then if I go over to this side, I know I've done those, so I'm going here. Now you've probably gathered that this is very repetitive now as we get towards the bottom. So, I mean, we're just going to carry on until we've joined all of the cords with a square knot. So if you are doing this as you're going along, as we're, you know, as I'm going along, then fab. If not, then you'll be able to come back and watch this later on. Okay, so now there, so I've done another square knot there. So I need to do on this side. So 2 cords and then 1, 2 from the outer edge. I think the key to this is just keeping your cords flat, untangled. You don't want them overlapping. It's when you're overlapping that's when the frustration sets in. Okay, Right, so I've done the outer two, so now I'm going to bring all these ones back down. And I'm going to go across now, creating this row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this row, there will be 7 alternating square knots. So put that there. Take those 2. I'm going to start in the centre, work my way around here. So if I start in the centre, and then once I've done that one, like I say, I'm going to move my cords up here this time. And then I know I'm not getting tangled with all these cords down here. Okay, and then right there. Okay, and then again for that outer one, 2. This is where you have to sort of wiggle it a bit now to make sure you're picking the right chords, and then the next 2 from over there. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to join these 2. I'm going to go from here. I think it's easy to see your chords. Okay, there we go, because I know I've got 2 there and 2 there, so that's right. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this, following along. Then 2 and 2 there. There we go, and then that's joining those 2. Like I say, it is very repetitive, but as long as you're continuing the pattern, then you'll be absolutely fine. So, and there, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that row now, which is perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the centre here and start joining. Sometimes just naturally it's easy to work from the centre, whereas at the top it's easier to work from the outside. But I find once you get down to this main body bit, if you go from the centre and then put your cords out of the way, you can just see it a bit more clearly. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is fascinating, but I think it is, yeah, it is fascinating, and it is fairly straightforward. But what I would suggest, if this is the first time you've ever done macrame, I would first of all just practice the basic knots. So on my Mindful Crafts YouTube channel, I have got, there's a video of basic macrame knots. So what I would suggest is you have a practice of those, and then once you've done like the lark's head knot and the square knot, you will be able to create so many different designs, because all this is using the same knot over and over again, and it's just making sure, as I know I keep saying, that you're pulling the right chords in, okay? So, but this whole pattern here has just been created with the same knot. So yeah, so pop over and have a look on my YouTube at the basic macrame knots tutorial, and you'll get, it's like anything, you'll just get into a rhythm, you'll pick it up, and you'll be able to do it without even thinking about it. But yeah, I think they do look trickier than they actually are. So I hope that helps a little bit. And the pods, they are lovely. I did them at Easter as well, and I put like little Easter eggs, little chocolate eggs, and hung them around the garden, and that was a nice idea. And likewise, you could do Christmassy ones. You could you know, have little Christmassy chocolates around the house, or decorate, you know, or as a gift, as a present, you know, with someone with some, or something in it. And you could use nice sparkly Christmassy coloured cords as well to make Christmas pods. That's a nice idea. I might do a tutorial for that. Okay. Oh. Hang on a second. I do apologise about that. My son's just come back from a sleepover. Oh. Okay, so there we go. The joys of working live online. Funny. Okay, and then this one is my outer one. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm just going to turn it over to that side. Okay, and then I'm going to begin the next row. So 2 from there. I'll start from this side this time. 2 from there. I don't know what happened there. That coincided with my son coming back, but right, let's get this set up again. I'm having a bit of a technology disaster this morning, I think. back on track. Okay, so I took 2 from there, 2 from there. See, we're getting close to the end now. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to work my way across. 2 from there, 2. Oh look, see that cord was lying underneath there, so I'm making sure I've got all the cords in the right way. And you can see now as we work our way down that the pod is it's getting wider because we've got more knots in a row. Okay, that's that one. Okay. Let's move those cords over there. Take 2, and then the next 2. Two and 2. Getting over to this side. 1, 2. 1, 2. Working my way over to this side. 2 and 2. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 and 2. Does it keep freezing? So I'm going to take the left hand 2 there, and I'm going to take the next 2 cords from the outer edge. And you can see what we're doing now is we're beginning to work around the bottom. So what I might do now actually is just carry on and join these bottom cords. Okay, and then 1 and 1 from there. Okay. next 4, 1, 1. And this will bring it all together at the front now. So here, in fact, I'm going to go this side. Look, I mean, you can see what's happening here now, look. So that's where it's getting wider. So we're almost finished really. We've just got to do a few more before we gather it in. So I'm just going to go over to this side. So that was my last square knot. Okay. So I've got my 2 cords here, then the next one, then the next one. There we go. And then those 2. And the next one and the next one. And that should leave me, yeah, just a couple more to do. See, and now because we've kind of come back to the front, you can see that nice edging that we'd left at the beginning. That's why, so we turned it round and worked from the back of the pod, but now we're back at the front. Okay. So I'm going to go there. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. And I'm going to do the same from the other side. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then, yes, then you've got 2 in the centre, and we'll be able to join those as well. Okay, so now, yeah, so I've got 2 cords left in the centre, and I'm just going to, here, I'm going to take 2 cords from this left-hand square knot, and I'm going to take 2 cords from the one along. Now what I'm going to do is, because we've got 6 cords here and we want to join them, I'm going to have 4 cords in the centre as the holding cords, and I'm just going to make a square knot. There we go, and then that will join the middle of the pod. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to shut. Okay, so what you can see now is that we've got the basic pod shape. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to continue with the alternating pattern on the back, okay, before we gather it in. Now these I did different sizes, okay, so this one I just did, so I got to the front here, you can see there, I got to the front, I've got my middle, my centre square knot, and then I gathered them all in. This one I did a few more rows, okay, before I gathered them in. So it's up to you, it depends what really you want to put in there, or, you know, it's entirely up to you. So if I go back around here, okay, this is where obviously you just have to make sure that you're using the right cords. So I'm going to start in the centre, okay, take 2. And it is, I know it is fiddly, so you're getting the right chords, but just take 2. Just so we carry on with that alternating pattern to create the body of the pod. Okay, so that's that one. And it will work up quite quickly now. Obviously you can use a thicker cord as well if you wanted to use a 5mm or another size cord, that would be absolutely fine. Your pod would be just a bit bigger. Okay, is it frozen again? No, it's freezing. So I'm just going to keep moving those cords out of the way, and then you're just going to keep taking 2 and 2. If any of you are making these as you go along, I'd love to see the results of what you've done. Or even if you're making one at a later date, I'd still love to see the results of what you've been up to. Okay, I've done that one. Now I'm going to go back, where am I? 2 and 2 over here. Okay. 2 and 2 there. Two. Right. Okay, so now, I've done that row. So again, so you can see what's happening. Now, what we're going to do is you can make another couple of rows of square knots. In fact, I think I'll do one more, and then I'll show you how we gather it together. Okay, just so it secures the actual pod. So I'm going to go back to the centre, because if you work from the centre out for these longer bits, then you know that you're going to be making the correct alternating square knot pattern. So I'll just do this one row, and then I'll show you how to wrap the cords with a wrap knot. Okay, so as I say, if you want a bigger pod, you just add more than 23 cords on at the beginning. It would obviously just take you a lot longer, because you'd be making a bigger alternating square knot pattern. But they do look fab once they're done. I made some for Mother's Day. Yeah, for gifts. They went down quite well. So there I've got 2 cords which aren't going to be part of that row, so that's okay. So I'm just going to go, that's right. So I'm going to go there. And there. That's, yeah, that's right. And then these two join here. Live workshops, and then okay, so I'm going to go back around that side now. We're nearly there. Two and two. Okay, and there we go. I'm just going to join that one at the front, and that should have filled out the pod now. I'm going to pick it up in a second. Let's see how we're looking. Yeah, so we're equal there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 there. Perfect. So, as I say, if you wanted to, you could do another row, okay? But what we're going to do now is we're actually going to join the pod together with a wrap knot. Okay, so for this you need another cord, probably just about, I think, what did I put in the instructions? About, yeah, just about 75, 80 centimetres or so. And right, so the wrap knot is a really nice, neat way of either starting a project, but in this case we're going to finish the project with it. So I'm going to gather all my cords up, and again make sure they're all lay flat, and with that cord that I've just got ready, I want to make a loop one end, okay? And so I'm just going to turn that cord back about 15 centimetres or so, and I'm going to lie that with my loop pointing towards the bottom of the pod, okay? Now here, this is important that we leave this tail exposed, because it's this tail that's going to help us secure the wrap knot, okay? So I'm going to leave that tail, I'm just going to tuck it in the pod. Now the longer cord here, and this is where we have to be careful again, because you've got to make sure you hold everything securely. So there's my exposed bit. This longer cord, now you are basically, as the name of the knot suggests, just going to wrap it round and round. Okay, I know we've got these cords here at the moment that you can see. Now what I do as well is to make it a nice regular knot, I just sit the next wrap underneath the previous one, so you can see the definition of the cord. Okay, now let me just check where my loop is. That's it, because we need this loop. Okay, and again, you know, you can do the wraps longer or shorter, it's entirely up to you. I've done a couple of examples there. I'm going to stop there. So once I've decided how long I want my actual wrap knot to be, then that cord, once I've finished wrapping, that cord is going to go through the loop, okay? And this cord that we had left exposed, we're going to pull, and what will happen is that this loop will become hidden in the wrap, okay? So like that. So that loop goes underneath that wrap. All right. So you've got something that looks like that. Now in a minute we're going to trim these ends, but before I do that, I'm going to work through all of these cords and pull them tight, and that will gather the bottom of the pod. Okay, so those cords that you can see in there, if you pull them, they will sort of like disappear, as if by magic. Okay, so in fact what I find it easier to do is kind of just do one at a time, really. If you lie it down like that. And then you can just sort of like fiddle and work the cords to suit. Just got a couple there in the centre that aren't. Okay, and again, as I said, if I'd have done another row here, then the bottom of the pod would have been sort of like slightly deeper, but I'm sure you've watched me do enough square knots now. Okay, then the final thing to do is that cord that we pulled to secure the wrap knot. I'm going to trim that. Okay, and if you've got a bit of the end exposed, you can just tuck it in. Okay, give it a wiggle. Because this has got a bit of stretch and a bit of give into it, you can wiggle it to suit. And then you need to just decide how long you want to have your tail of your pod. And just give it a snip. Now the beauty of these Fiskars scissors is they are so sharp. They are so good. Right. I'm not happy with that. Just need to give it a bit more of a wiggle. I think I should have really done another row of knots, but that's better. Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, snip that there, and there you have your macrame plant pod. Now here, if you wanted to give it a bit more detail, you could just make some extra knots, or you could put beads on, or yeah, have a play, have an experiment. Right, well I really do hope that you've enjoyed that workshop. The kit's still available to buy on the ICHF, the Craft Show's website. In the kit you've got enough to make 2 plant pods. So it comes with enough cord for 2, it comes with 2 of the wooden rings. Yeah, and this tutorial will be available for the next 30 days. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the craft weekend. There's so many lovely things going on and being shown. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Right, have a good day.